7 games by the Cleveland Cavaliers.
You were feeling yourself early with Paolo in that 18-point lead.
I love me some Paulo Banchero.
Monte's Orlando Magic.
My Orlando Magic. I do love me some Paulo.
The
You
Magic
guys know
ran
about
out,
that. The Magic
unfortunately.
did run out, but you know what? They don't have shooting.
They don't.
And they need playmaking from the guard position. I like Cole Anthony, good little player, but not enough.
No.
And look, they're
He's also
young.
small.
Yeah, he's very small. Jalen Suggs, I like him in a role like a Josh Hart role, but I don't like him as a primary guard. Not right now because of the injuries, because of his lack of three-point shooting. He shot 29% in this series against Orlando. Jalen Suggs got to work on his three-point shot. But if you imagine a Malik Monk, maybe a Paul George. I'm actually off on Paul George. I would, if I'm Orlando, I stay away from Paul George.
I've been out on Paul George.
I'm out on Paul George. But if you get a Malik Monk and you add another shooter, you know it doesn't have to be Klay Thompson, but could very well be Klay Thompson. Your fifth place team in the Eastern Conference. You got a guy like Paulo who's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. Franz Wagner, only going to get better. Orlando looks like a very attractive destination, Spadoni. And here's Paulo in his first ever playoff series. 27 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 46% from the floor, 40% from three, 76 from the free throw line. The second youngest player in the NBA history to average 25 points and 5 rebounds in a playoff series. The youngest, LeBron James back in 06.
I'm seeing way too many of these, by the way. I'm seeing Kobe and LeBron getting brought up with guys like Paolo, guys like with Luka, Anthony Edwards now. That scares me if I am a fan of the Golden State Warriors right now, the Lakers, the Suns, and one of these aging stars is on my team. Because again, Ponte, they're only getting younger now, man. Like Victor Wembanyama's coming. He's only 18, 19 years old, and he's going to be a stud here before we know it. But if I'm a guy like Malik Monk, though, and Klay Thompson, I feel like I can be a better contributor on a younger team, and they could use my veteran savvy. I'd go to the East, and I'd go to a team like Orlando. Why not? The East is down right now. I don't fear the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No.
Like it's a 2-horse race right now, and I don't think anyone truly expects, maybe you do, the New York Knicks to come out of there. But it's Boston, and then everyone's a tier below them.
Yeah, I could see the Knicks beating Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. If the Knicks get past the Pacers, I think it's a fascinating series.
I think they will.
But I think the Knicks can give Boston all they can handle.
First time they're playing each other, the Knicks and the Pacers, and I know they have that long history, Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, Starks. So 2013. Was PG-13 just a rookie then? He might have been. Roy Hibbert.
He was a young player. Yeah, he was
the Scarecrow.
Young player. I do love this series, the nostalgic reasons. I love the Western Conference Finals too, but before we went to last break, we're asking Dub Nation about Brandon Ingram. Is that a name that moves the needle for Warrior fans? 888-957-9570. Is that a name that moves Warrior fans? Brandon Ingram. He's got another year left on his deal. The Pelicans have to make a decision on whether to extend him. Reports are they may not extend him. Is that more realistic than Kevin Durant?
I think it's more realistic, but who would you want more? I still think right now, if I can get either one of them, Bonte, and let's just throw that word magic out there again. If we can make the magic happen with Mike Dunleavy and Joe Lacob and co. and the Warriors front office, I'd still take Kevin Durant because I know the known commodity is still pretty damn good to borderline elite at times. So I know he's a little older, so those elite games are going to come a little more infrequently, right. But he's still so damn good. Brandon Ingram, I'm still betting on the potential there, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still going there. He has the size, he has the length, he has the capability, but he also has the injury history, which does concern me a bit. He's been injured throughout his career, whether you go back to the Lakers, whether you go to the Pelicans, and now whatever third team he's going to be a part of. That is something that is going to be concerning. But you cannot deny the talent level, Bonte. When you watch him and when he is cooking, he can get any shot he wants. I mean, my guy Bobby Spang, former producer here, he called him Kmart KD, which I know it sounds disrespectful.
Yeah, Costco KD.
Costco KD. But we say that because he has all the attributes of a Kevin Durant. The size, the length, the ball handling ability, the ability to rise over anyone with his jump shot and make it at times. Like, that is the thing that this Warriors team that I saw with Jonathan Kuminga that was refreshing, actually, was he can get his own shot whenever he wanted. Like Steph, I love him. He cannot get his own shot whenever he wants. Right. That is the one thing.
He needs a little help now.
He needs some help right there. Yes. And I don't know if a guy like Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Ingram would be too redundant. I do know that Kevin Durant fits in seamlessly because we've seen it before. We've seen it before, but I just don't know how realistic it is to get a guy like that.
Right.
And I think there is a realistic possibility right now. If you want Brandon Ingram, go get him. Go get him right now. Why not?
What would it take to get a Brandon Ingram, you think? Is it a Kuminga? Is it a Wiggins? Is it multiple picks? Is that worth it for Brandon Ingram?
If it's Moody,
I'm not sure Brandon Ingram resonates with Dub Nation, Spadoni.
well, right now I'd rather have Ingram over Wiggins.
Okay.
I can say that with a strong. Just give me
Ingram,
him right
Kuminga.
now.
Would you rather have Kuminga than Brandon Ingram right now?
That's a great question. I
can make the argument for JK.
I think I'm going Ingram though. I think I'm going Brandon Ingram in this scenario because what is it? He's 4 years older than him right now, so that's not a huge age gap right now. If I'm looking at the current and long term, I could still build around Brandon Ingram after that. I think I'm going Bi. I think he's a more consistent shooter. I think he's a better shooter.
Bi turns 27 in September.
Still
27.
young. That's still pretty young. I'm okay with that. Again, the injury concerns, but I saw a little bit of wear and tear with injury concerns with Jonathan Kuminga late here. That knee tendonitis scared me, Bonte. I'm not going to lie.
I can make the, oh, man.
888-957-9570. Who do you want?
I think I'd rather have the prospects of Jonathan Kuminga. Now, Brandon Ingram handles the bar a lot better than Jonathan Kuminga right now.
He's more natural with the ball handling ability, but I'll give the defensive edge to Jonathan Kuminga. He's also thicker than Brandon Ingram.
Yes, hasn't had a lot of injuries, although he had to need tendonitis.
I think that was some wear and tear.
Right,
that he's never had this sort of load to manage this year so far, so we'll wait and see there. But that is something to be, just keep an eye on it. He's been an all-star once, Brandon Ingram, back in 2019-2020 season.
Brandon Ingram or JK.
Most improved player.
Keep JK and Moody. Trade Curry, trade. That's Dennis.
Oh, relax.
You're not trading them. But JK, I would rather have Jonathan Kuminga than Brandon Ingram, considering what it would cost to trade for Brandon Ingram.
Well, you'd basically, at this point, if we're having this conversation, you'd say you're moving off of Kuminga. I just don't think the Warriors would do that. But if you can get both of them together, would you do that, Bonte? Do you think they could fit hand in hand on the court together? It would give you a lot of size.
I think
and
Kuminga and Ingram could play together. They could play together, I believe. But is Brandon Ingram, if you did trade away Jonathan Kuminga, is that moving the needle for you to move up in the Western Conference? I'm not sure if it's moving the needle.
It would be, if anything, at the very best, a slight net positive. But what does that get you? Into the first round? So to your point, I'd try to keep both of those guys, and I would move off a Moody and Wiggins.
How much stock are you putting into the fact that the Warriors just finished 3 games out of basically the 6th seed?
I don't know.
Are you putting any stock into that because Draymond Green missed 17 games, 18 games?
But because he missed those games, we got to see how good Jonathan Kuminga was.
Right. No, we did.
So that goes hand in hand.
Well, based on asking,
it's a butterfly effect. So if they run it back, Bonte, if that's what you're saying,
right? Basically asking that if you run it back with JK, knowing you're only 3 games back of the 6th seed, do you get better next season by running it back?
I think you are probably exactly where you are, or maybe you're in the first round. Which I don't know if that's doing it for Warriors fans if you're the 6th spot instead.
See, I think a lot of Warrior fans, I don't want to speak for them, but I feel like a lot of Warrior fans would rather just roll with JK as opposed to trading the farm or trading what could be multiple picks for Brandon Ingram and paying Brandon Ingram.
Are you getting a player, if you're drafting it, as good as Brandon Ingram right now?
No, you're not.
You're not. I don't know. This is from what I've been told, and I'm not as locked in as college basketball as some are. But I have not been impressed with the NCAA tournament. It's a very down draft.
Yeah,
all the names I'm hearing are European or G League guys.
They're saying this may be the worst draft in years.
Yikes.
Years.
Are we talking like Anthony Bennett type of draft here?
Like years. This is bad. Like no clear-cut number 1 pick. It is a bad draft.
So I'm trying to go get a known commodity right now. I'm going Les Snead. I'm saying F them picks. Go get me Brandon Ingram. If that costs me Moses Moody and Jonathan and Andrew Wiggins, I'll go do that. But go get me the known commodity.
$36 million you're paying Ingram this year. Then he's an unrestricted free agent when he turns 28. Let's go to Ariel in Palo Alto. JK, Brandon Ingram.
Adios.
Ariel, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
What's up, man?
Real quick, I just want to, at first it was a little appealing to hear Brandon Ingram, just the size, the comparison to KD, definitely. But Bonte, you mentioned just all these other teams, like Minnesota with Anthony Edwards, the Magic with Paolo, with Suggs. And so, just thinking towards the future, I would definitely roll with Jonathan Kuminga just because, we're already starting to see what's going to happen with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ariel, real quick, don't go. If you could have Kuminga and Ingram and trade Moody and Wiggins, would you do that?
I would. I would pull the trigger on that one. I would. I like that one.
I think a lot of people will pull the trigger on that one because we saw Andrew Wiggins as an inconsistent player this season, 13.5 points. He did defend very well. Thanks for the phone call, Ariel. Good points. And Moses Moody, we just don't know who he is yet. We don't know who he is. But at the prospect of having Brandon Ingram and J.K., two studs, Brandon Ingram, another ball handler, another playmaker alongside Stephen Curry, now we're cooking with hot grease. I think a lot of fans would rather do that. But we got to be realistic here. David Griffin and the Pelicans.
You don't think that's enough?
I don't think David Griffin would settle on that.
Do you think the Pelicans are getting a player as good as Andrew Wiggins elsewhere? And I know the inconsistencies are there, but I do think if they all think that they're betting on the upside there, he'd be a great fit with New Orleans.
You have Trey Burke for the third and Herb Jones, right?
You do.
Andrew Wiggins is coming off the bench.
Wow. You don't think he started on that team?
I don't think he starts. You get Trey Murphy III, you get Herb Jones, you get Zion Williamson, you got Jonas Valanciunas, and then you got C.J. McCollum. That's my starting five in New Orleans.
I'm so out on C.J. McCollum.
But I'm not. Yeah, I am too. But I'm not out on Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III. And I wouldn't. I wouldn't keep those guys on the minutes restrictions for Andrew Wiggins. Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones need to play. They need to play a lot. They're 30-minute a night guys. I'm not sacrificing minutes for Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones for Andrew Wiggins if I'm in that position with the Pelicans, as well as Zion Williamson.
Okay.
And then you got the spacing issues there with Zion Williamson. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to look at it from the other side. Why would the Pels be interested in Andrew Wiggins when they have in Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III?
I'm interested to see what the packages get, what they receive for Brandon Ingram are. Does a team like the Lakers try to go after Ingram and try to do a little reunion there? Do they try to say, you know what, we'll give you some picks, and we'll give you a Rui Hachimura, a D'Angelo Russell, or a Austin Reeves type, if that does anything for them, or are they not doing business with the Lakers anymore? So that's a name to be intrigued about for sure. Because not a lot of guys, Bonte, check the boxes that the Warriors need to check off right now, which is young, big, and athletic.
Yeah.
Ingram checks all of those, but there are some concerns. But that's going to be like with any player you're trying to get right now. There's no perfect player that the Warriors can get right now. I mean, if you want to be in fantasy land, sure. Giannis, but I don't know if he just signed a new contract extension there. I don't think they're looking to move off of him. Kevin Durant, sure. Again, but he's older. So there's going to be some drawbacks. LeBron James, okay. Bring him in as a free agent. I still don't know how that happens if he's making $50 million.
There we go.
But go ahead. Go bring him in. I don't know if that's good enough to win you a title.
Uncle Gene, 510, Xfinity Mobile text line. Dubs need a star, a legit number 2. Ingram falls short and too expensive, especially if we lose players like Wiggs or J.K. Uncle Gene, I'm kind of with you there with Brandon Ingram.